Let me see term used in UV visible spectroscopy. The first one is chromophore. An unsaturated group in a molecule contains pi electron and undergo pi to pi star transition. Molecule containing pi electron, pi bond अगर है तो molecule undergo pi to pi star transition, isn't it? So whenever there is a pi bond present in the molecule, it shows a color. Color, how it is, what is the chromophore? Chrome means color and pore means bearing unit. It is a color bearing unit present in the molecule. Whenever color bearing unit present in the molecule, it enhances the absorption wavelength. Enhances the absorption wavelength. For example, carbon-carbon double bonding ethylene and acetylene. A chromophore containing pi electron and non-bonding electron undergo pi to pi star transition and n to pi star transition. For example, carbonyl aldehyde and ketone, NO2, NO, azo group. Isn't it? This is what the chromophore. Chromophore are simple. ये जो absorption wavelength है ये क्या करेगा? Increase करेगा. That means इधर shift करेगा maximum value की तरफ. क्यों? Whenever there is a presence of chromophore. Chromophore means क्या? कि unsaturated group in the molecule. अनसैचुरेटेड ग्रुप अगर है मॉलिक्यूल में तो वो क्या करेगा? एब्सॉर्प्शन वेवलेंथ इंक्रीज करेगा. ये पिक जो है वो इधर शिफ्ट करेगा हायर वैल्यू की तरफ, इजंट इट? बिकॉज कलर बियरिंग यूनिट ऑलवेज एनहांसेस द एब्सॉर्प्शन वेवलेंथ एंड कलर बियरिंग यूनिट इज कॉल्ड एज क्रोमोफोर. क्रोमो मीन्स कलर, फोर मीन्स बियरिंग यूनिट. अगर कलर्ड यूनिट है जैसे कि दिस इज एजो ग्रुप एंड डबल बॉन्ड, इट इज orange color group. Whenever orange color group present in the molecule, it enhances absorption wavelength. NO or NO2, it is orange or yellow color group. Yellow color group present in the molecule, it also enhances the absorption wavelength. So you do keep in mind that chromophore, color bearing unit, enhances the absorption wavelength, shows pi to pi star transition and n to pi star transition because, or pi to pi star transition prominently because it contains unsaturated group, that means double bond, or that means pi electron. Now oxychrome, what is oxychrome? And color enhancing group which present in the molecule whose presence shift absorption band towards a longer wavelength. A lone pair carrying species can extend the conjugation by sharing non-bonding electron. Oxychrome क्या है? Lone pair carrying species or acidic or basic species which shift absorption band towards a longer wavelength. Oxychrome means this is, for example, phenolic OH. Phenolic OH, this is oxygen with the lone pair of electron. Methoxy group, these are acidic group. NH2 group, basic group. Amine group, isn't it? Secondary aminic group, it is also basic group, isn't it? So acidic group or basic group or lone pair carrying species which enhances the shift of absorption towards a longer wavelength called oxychrome. Oxychrome means the lone pair carrying species or acidic species or basic species. Chromophore means the unsaturated group, double bonded group present in the molecule which enhances the absorption, isn't it? So for example, you can have here benzene ring whose lambda max is 225 nanometer. When it reacts with the base, it undergo what? Basification, and what you can have here? Formation of phenol. Phenol which is weakly acidic in nature, introduction of OH group. OH means phenol, weakly acidic group is introduced on benzene ring. So therefore lambda max is increases, it is 270 nanometer. So lambda max, shifting of lambda max from 225 to 270, 225 to 270, there is increase in absorption wavelength or not? So increase in absorption wavelength, oxychrome, because oxychromic effect. OH is introduced on benzene ring. Why there is increase in absorption wavelength from 225 to 270? Because introduction of OH group, phenolic OH group on benzene ring. Therefore it is exochromic effect. Acidic or basic group is introduced and there is increase in shift of absorption is observed. So that means it is exochromic effect, and the group which is introduced which enhances the shift of absorption called exochrome group. Now let me see some effect. Batochromic shift, which is also called as red shift, shift of absorption towards a longer wavelength, and here it is blue and it is red shift on what you can have here absorption wavelength, and here it is a peak we have obtained here. Batochromic shift. Batochromic shift, that means what? Shift of absorption towards a longer wavelength. Longer means towards the red color. I mean, that means it is also called as red shift. Why it is called as red shift? Because red peak shift to longer wavelength, which has red color, which have longer wavelength of electromagnetic spectrum. So that's why shift of absorption towards a longer wavelength, bathochromic shift, or which is also called as red shift because higher wavelength. Now, for example, you can say nitrophenol, paranitrophenol, lambda max कितना है 255 nanometer, which on react with alkaline OH, that means base. What will happen here? This hydrogen get abstracted by the base and it will become phenoxy anion. phenoxy anion अगर है तो लोन पेयर इस पे जो है वो इलेक्ट्रॉन इन कॉन्जुगेशन में रहेगा इसके, isn't it? So 255 नैनोमीटर से लैम्बडा मैक्स क्या हो रहा है, इंक्रीज हो रहा है 270 नैनोमीटर, यानी कि क्या हो रहा है, शिफ्ट ऑफ एब्सॉर्प्शन टुवर्ड्स लॉन्गर वेवलेंथ, हायर वैल्यू 255 to 270, यानी कि इधर जा रहा है. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज बाथोक्रोमिक शिफ्ट और रेड शिफ्ट. अगर शिफ्ट ऑफ एब्सॉर्प्शन इंक्रीज होता है तो उसे रेड शिफ्ट कहते हैं या फिर बाथोक्रोमिक शिफ्ट कहते हैं. Hypsochromic shift or blue shift of absorption towards a longer wavelength. It is exactly reverse to the bathochromic shift. For example, you can have here benzene. Here it is a salt, amine salt, quaternary salt. Lambda max is here. You can have here it is aniline chloride. Lambda max is 230 nanometer. Which on react with the HCl acid, what you can have here ionization, isn't it? NH3 positive, Cl negative. So 230 nanometer of this compound, the shift of absorption decreases 230 to 203 nanometer. So therefore the shift of absorption towards a shorter wavelength, which is also called as hypsochromic shift. A molecule which on reacts with the HCl shows absorption wavelength 203 nanometer from 230, it is hypsochromic shift, isn't it? पहले 230 था, अब 203 हो गया है, तो hypsochromic shift या फिर blue shift, क्योंकि shift of absorption कैसे हो रही है, कम हो रही है. Now hyperchromic effect, increase in intensity of peak, sharp, get sharpened. अगर ये शार्प होता, अगर जा रहा है, इंटेंसिटी अगर बढ़ रही है, तो इट इज हाइपरक्रोमिक इफेक्ट. हाइपरक्रोमिक शिफ्ट, दैट मीन्स अ शिफ्ट विच इंक्रीजेज द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ पीक. फॉर एग्जांपल, दिस इज पायरिडीन 257 नैनोमीटर व्हेन रिएक्ट्स विद methyl chloride or reacts with the acidyl chloride. What you can have here, it is 2-methyl pyridine. When pyridine having lambda max 257 nanometer converted to 2-methyl pyridine, lambda max changes to 262 nanometer. 257 nanometer से 262 nanometer जा रहा है. So there is what, lambda max increases and intensity also increases. So it is hyperchromic shift. इसकी intensity क्या हो रही है, यहाँ पे बढ़ रही है, isn't it? अगर लैम्बडा मैक्स बढ़ता है तो इंटेंसिटी भी बढ़ती है. यू डू कीप इन माइंड दैट. हाइपोक्रोमिक शिफ्ट, इट इज एक्जैक्टली रिवर्स टू हाइपरक्रोमिक, डिक्रीज इन इंटेंसिटी ऑफ पीक. लैम्बडा मैक्स 250 नैनोमीटर, इट इज बाइफिनाइल कंपाउंड. व्हेन कन्वर्टेड टू 2-methyl बाइफिनाइल, व्हाट यू कैन हैव, लैम्बडा मैक्स इज 237. 250 नैनोमीटर का 237 नैनोमीटर जा रहा है, दैट मीन्स डिक्रीज इन इंटेंसिटी हो रहा है, isn't it? लैम्बडा मैक्स डिक्रीजेज, इंटेंसिटी डिक्रीजेज. इंटेंसिटी डिक्रीज हो रहा है तो इट इज हाइपोक्रोमिक इफेक्ट. अगर इंटेंसिटी बढ़ रहा है तो हाइपरक्रोमिक इफेक्ट. सो इट इज सिंपल. एब्सॉर्प्शन वेवलेंथ इंक्रीजेज, रेड शिफ्ट और बाथोक्रोमिक शिफ्ट. एब्सॉर्प्शन वेवलेंथ डिक्रीजेज, hypsochromic shift or blue shift. Intensity of absorption wavelength increases, hyperchromic effect. Intensity of absorption decreases, hypochromic effect, isn't it? So such a simple term.